What's going on, my boxing brothers and sisters? It's another edition of Major Key Mondays, man. And today we got some special guests. First edition of boxing. Business, beats, and boxing. So we're gonna get into it with a lot of different ideas here, different types of backgrounds, but ultimately trying to educate everyone that follows the channel. Like always, you know what I'm saying? This is a channel with folks, great minds that think alike and have done different things throughout their careers, different business ventures and things of that nature. So first and foremost, always my business partner here, Troy Graham, up in the building. We have Kelly Pavlik back with his second win, coming back. You know what I'm saying? Just like with Jermaine Taylor came back up. You know what I'm saying? Yep. He took him out, so he's back over here. And then we have, of course, DJ Rebel, you know what I'm saying? And so everybody's already familiar with Kelly Pavlik, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, lineal champion, you know, a two-time super middleweight champion, man. Great dude, man. Knocked out some of the best people, you know what I'm saying? Interesting fights. WBC and what was it? WBO, right?
Yeah, and Ring.
And Ring Magazine and lineal champion, man. So definitely a legend in the building. And then yo, Troy, introduce Rebel, man, because that dude's resume is too ill for me to follow all of that, man. Like 50 Cent, like 57, man, 57 groups before 1990. Like, man, go ahead and introduce that.
Drew Hill.
That's right. That's right. That's right. We got a legend in the house. Actually, we got two legends in the house. We got one in boxing. And we definitely have one in the beats area. We got DJ Rebel, aka that's my brother right there. He's worked with 57 groups before the 80s or 90s, I believe. Two of them being, you know, Drew Hill and Rough Ends. And I know he's worked with Santana as well. I know he's done some music for, you know, Asim Rockman too, you know, a couple of his fights. And he's humble enough to come through and do for us today. And I still owe that brother like 1,000 favors over 30 years, but I'm sure he's going to call him in eventually. Go ahead and introduce yourself, good brother. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Peace to the gods and the earth, my man. This is DJ Sean Rebel. Salute to my mans, Major Key Boxing. Kelly, I see you out there. Troy Graham, salute everybody. Just here to be humble, man. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 80s, I produced a lot of groups. And we was battling between Wu-Tang Clan and also Belle Biv DeVoe when they came out with BBD and the East Coast Family. We battled and beat them as well. The name of my group back then was called Shabazz Productions. A lot of y'all probably heard of that. Shabazz was all over the East Coast, but we grew mostly in Baltimore and in New York. So we took that and moved around the whole East Coast. Got a few people from Cali, so shout out to the West Coast, throw your W's. But that furthered us along for us the production, making beats and stuff. I started at the age of 3 with drums, and my father played the saxophone, and my mom sang for James Brown, the late great James Brown. So it's a lot of history behind me. So I don't like to tell a lot of stuff. I just like to smile and watch everybody else. So salute everybody out there. If y'all need something, holler at me. I'm at DJ Sean Rebel on IG, man. That's where y'all can follow me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So
right. Also,
well, go ahead, Troy.
Yeah. Also, you know, we have another gentleman that's coming on. We just working out some technical things. That's the good brother, Discombobulating Jones. He has a powerful history as well. He's an announcer in the business. He's been in the business for over 30 years. The first African American announcer to ever be on televised, and I believe, you know, he correct me if I'm wrong. He's the first one to ever. I think he's the only one to do a fight in Radio City Music Hall. Now, he's going to come and clear that up if I'm correct, if I'm wrong about that. And he also mentored under Michael Buffer, so he's been around for a while. He got a bunch of stories, a lot of knowledge, and all these gentlemen are here tonight to build and to tell you that, look, we understand boxing is a fighting sport and it's a business, but you don't always have to be a boxer to make money, and that is why we are here tonight to build the network. All right.
Absolutely facts, because here's the thing. The whole point of the Triple B episode is going to be to bring on different business minds. Like, for example, Kelly kind of touched on it, what he was working on after, you know, towards the end of the previous interview. But right now, I mean, most people wanted to ask questions about his boxing career and all of that, and it's all going to tie in. But at the end of the day, so Kelly, let everybody know what you've been working on lately, since the end of your career, and let people know, because that's more important right now, and that's kind of like what the topic is about tonight.
Absolutely. The big thing was a lot of people. There was always kind of like, anytime you retire early, it's always got to be something negative, from the
Right.
people. But I had 42 pro fights, and I was pro for over 12 years. That's a long go, and I always wanted out of the sport early. I gave it all I had when I was in it, and I wanted out. And I was fortunate to have my father and people that were real close to me, guide you, because even though you can be smart as hell, but when you're caught up in that fast-paced life and the boxing and everything else, you can lose track of what's happening. And I was very fortunate to be able to retire and stay retired, and I've been retired now going on 9 years. And it was a big part. So with the money that I had put away, my investment money, I've got a boxing, or I take that back, I got a fitness gym right outside of Youngstown. I'm in the process of opening up another fitness gym on the outside. I got of Youngstown. I got a boxing gym through my charitable organization that I'm going to be doing. Right now, I partnered with a good friend of mine, and we do sports testing, which is like the combine training, NFL combine, but we do it for all the sports. And right now, we picked up all the AAU West Coast, and we're very close to signing it, going national with the AAU. NFL flag youth, we're in the process of getting nationally, and it's all for all sports, just not football. We'll be doing testing in baseball, volleyball, basketball, and it's really big, and it's going to benefit.
That's a pretty dope idea. So you're doing it like the combine, but for all sports.
Yeah, but this
Wow.
is also where we keep data throughout the years of progress, and there's many other things behind the scenes that we have that'll benefit the athletes that I can't touch on right now until we have that done. But it's going to be very beneficial. I have a boxing app out called the Sweet Science Plus with a fellow fighter from my hometown. He actually beat John Duddy, Billy Lau. But he has a fitness gym in Naples, Florida now. He lives down there, and we partnered up, and we have a boxing app, going right now.
Well, you let me know, man. I'll go visit over there and interview, because that's actually where my daughters live, in Naples. So
okay.
I just came from there Saturday. I went to pick them up for a couple of weeks to visit for my birthday and Father's Day and all of that. So that I actually go to Naples a couple times a year. So.
Yeah, you have to stop past the gym too. It's the Sweet Science of Naples.
The Sweet Science, okay.
Yeah, of Naples, and our app is the Sweet Science Plus. So there's just a lot of big things that are taking off right now, and I got many more that I'm eventually going to tap into. But again, even being that busy, and then with my kids, I make the time to be there in the afternoon. I was very fortunate to be able to go on all these different ventures, and you have to have a solid team behind that too, though, because I'm really spread thin, but I have, good people there to help, the team, my secretary, PR person, my wife, she helps out tremendously with it. So you got to make sure you still have that, because you can lose track of all the different things. And, I have a financial advisor, obviously accountant, and a lawyer that works, with that. And so everything you go through is just about, doing it the right way, making sure you have the right people. This day and age is hard. And for a lot of these young athletes, I was there. For a minute, I was caught up in that. You lose track of it. Like, you're young. You always think that money is going to be there. The career is going to be there.
Right.
But it don't work that way. And you got a lot of people that you think are there because they're your friends, and they ain't, and it's the old story that we've been hearing for decades and decades with professional athletes.
Yeah.
And it's so true, but a lot of people just can't catch on to it either.
Yeah, they're in the section. They're in the liability section, right? They're not in the section where it's a plus, where it brings you money. They're just trying to take the money. I got you, man.
And they come in so many different forms.
Exactly. So how does that sound about as far as relation to your career, Mr. Rebel?
Sounds good, man. It sounds like we in line together, man. That's a dope concept that y'all got going on. I'm definitely wanting to be a part. Like I said, Major Key, I'm with y'all, man, all day long. I'm here for the long haul.
That's what's up. So as far as your like the music business, right, is concerned, right?
Hmm.
So any similarities in what Kelly said as far as like, you know, the difficulties in business dealing with you know, the different types of personalities, everybody trying to put their hand in your pocket, you know what I mean? And then you having to create your own thing to make sure that you're financially sustainable, you know, in the future. And what kind of insight can you give like somebody that's in the music business right now on the way up?
Oh, absolutely. There's been a lot of ups and downs, bro. And with that situation, you know, we can talk about that all day. But far as the industry is concerned, right now it's best to be independent. A lot of people are signing deals and they're doing the 360s. And the 360s ain't working no more. So they just need to put their stuff out there and material and get it in marketing. You know, marketing right now is fun because like TikTok and all of these social apps and stuff like that. A lot of people are picking up on that, and that's where people are getting signed now. Even Nick Cannon, when he puts on Wild and Out, he's pulling people from social media versus going out there trying to find talent in, you know, in different areas.
Yeah.
So putting that forward, you know, as far as the boxing and I'm just loving it, man. Independently, we can make moves like you're doing, and it sounds wonderful, man.
So would you say then in this what I heard from you, right? Just understand a little bit of the music business. So basically, in a nutshell, what you want to do is your own marketing, learn those skills, and do your own marketing, and then look for maybe a distribution deal or something like that.
Absolutely, because if you own your own masters, man, you make
Right.
more money off the masters. Because you can license those masters to anybody. It's like
Hmm.
you your own Netflix. You know what I mean? So instead of getting
Yeah.
somebody else to do that for, I mean, you can get a publishing company or you can
Right.
get a publicist to speak on your behalf. But
Right.
you out there in the front. You the CEO. You should run your business accordingly. When you're trying to get signed to a label, they do all of the running around, and they're not going to tell you all of the secrets on the inside that they got these
Right.
side deals with other companies that they're rubbing elbows with. So you
Hmm.
get left out of all of that conversation, man. $2.7 million from Interscope, man. That's where I was at. I ended up turning down the deal because it just didn't make sense. After we paid Timberland, Swiss Beats, DR Period for that produced MOP, and they said they wanted to have Pharrell from the Neptunes produce half the album that we was trying to rock out with. They stated that we was gonna get 2.7 mil for the deal, but after you pay Timberland, that's 500,000 right there. He charges 500,000 per track. We ain't even shoot the
Okay.
video yet. We ain't even shoot the video yet.
And
So
yo, you
the
know
That,
what?
that,
Neptunes, I heard they were one of the more expensive ones. Neptunes were expensive, huh?
Yeah, that's the $1 Billion
Yeah.
Boy Club. So you know, all
Yeah.
of them is all in cahoots together. So Interscope has them under the umbrella as well. So
Right.
I hollered at my man Dr. Period from MOP. He makes the beat Annie up. So and he gave me a good deal on it, but we ended up turning down a deal with Interscope and said we're just gonna go independently. But me and
Gotcha.
my partner, shout out to Pizzazz 16, Pothole City, New York, Bronx. He decided that we was just gonna do some production, man. We went back from rapping and DJing to just going and doing some production on the beats. And I got
Gotcha.
with my partner Marcus Nichols up in Baltimore, and he run a radio station called Mix Station. So we partnered up there, and it's been nuts ever since. We've been doing a whole lot of stuff, man. It's like marketing and plus I'm IT, so I fix the computers as well. So the industry wise, I mean, a lot of people will say, yeah, let me go industry, but I suggest this is me personally saying, you know, get your marketing together and pay for that. Paying for marketing is not a hard thing. It's just that you got to know what you're going to do, where you're
yeah.
going to put it at, who you're going to deal it with. And it's the same with boxing. Boxing is worldwide, you know, just like music. Music and boxing go hand in hand. When that boxer comes to the ring, what's playing? Some music is playing for them to get pumped up so they can get in the ring and knock somebody out. That's what I like about it. And that's what I did for Hasim Rockman when he lost that fight, his title fight. He had came in the ring to a beat that I had made. So I was mad that he lost, but I was happy that he played the track.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That music industry is pretty crazy. I have a I don't know if I should mention the name, but he was really big. I think he was with Sony for a little bit. He was partners with Frank DeLeo. He managed Michael Jackson, Rihanna, Mark LaMica, and
I'm familiar.
yeah, he had a lot of them entertainers, and he was telling me about the business, man. I thought boxing was bad. It's every bit as it's every bit as crazy.
Entertainment, man, because
Um,
boxing is part of
It's
entertainment.
it
Because
is.
everybody wants to see somebody fight.
Yep.
Definitely, man. So, hey, Troy, I know you've been in and out. Go ahead, man. And also Mark Nash, man. You know what I'm saying? Like whoever want to follow up.
I just want you guys to know I have Mr. Henry Jones on the line. He's ready.
Oh, okay, perfect. Troy.
Thanks, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here, sir. How you doing? Hello. Mr. Jones, how you doing, brother?
Oh, blessed and highly favored as usual. You know that.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Well, we appreciate your time. We have Kelly Pavlik on here as well as DJ Rebel. Troy Graham is on the back end right there. He was going to introduce you. I think he's having some technical issues as well, but it's okay, man. Listen, we want to hear your take, man. So from what I understand, obviously great career, covered a lot of fights. For people that don't know who you are, go ahead and let them know exactly who you are, what your career is like, and your accolades as far as if you're still with the TV station, that you were with in the past, because I know you were with them for most of your career. I don't know if you're still with them though. And we were kind of talking about that off air, Kelly and I really wasn't sure. So that was a question we wanted to ask you. But first off, just introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are. You still there?
You still there, Mr. Jones?
I'm here.
Just introduce yourself. Can you hear Major Key? Can you hear him talking, sir? Mr. Jones?
Oh, you were asking me?
Yes, sir. We're talking to you. I'm sorry. Just introduce yourself. Tell people about your career, and what things you have done, and also the network you was with. And I believe they were curious if you were still with the network, sir.
Okay. Right now?
Yes, sir. You have
yes,
to.
Sir.
Okay. We're ready to do it, so let's step to it. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, listening on the podcast. Major Keys and Troy Graham. Certainly it's my pleasure to be here, to be a guest. And I am Henry Discombobulating Jones. I've been the ring announcer for pro boxing in D.C. for the past 33 years straight. And during that time, I've been on the old USA Tuesday Night Fights. I've been on ESPN 1 and 2, HBO, KO Nation, and most recently on Showtime from Philadelphia for a rising star by the name of Jerron Boots Ennis. And I continue to apply my craft around the country and internationally. A couple of years ago, I was taken to China to announce the fight for Manny Pacquiao Promotions. That's been the highlight of my career thus far. And certainly even more is on the horizon. I have dates lined up to go to Philadelphia, to Texas, to Atlanta. So, yeah, I'm just hitting my stride after 33 years, thank God. So I appreciate you giving me this platform to tell you about it.
It's our pleasure. Our pleasure. Troy, are you doing better now?
I could, you know what? I don't know if you can hear me or not. Can you hear me clearly?
Perfectly, loud and clear, brother. All right.
Good, because I can't hear y'all loud and clear. But yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here.
All right, man. Any follow-ups there, man? Well, because I wanted to ask him a question, but I don't want to be the only person speaking here. But what you said basically.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to let me see. Let me start with you, Brother Jones. How you doing, brother? Hello? This connection is bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's raining all across the United States, it seems like today. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it is with everybody, but we lost Mark on a back end connection. But
I'm still here.
Okay.
Well, I'll go ahead and jump to DJ Rebel now. Rebel, I'll start with you because I know you've done some work with Hakeem Rahman and you've done some music for him. So you could tell. How did you get in with him?
You hear me?
being a fighter, and do
Yes, sir.
and do some beats for him.
I can't hear them at all.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool.
Okay.
For Hassan Rahman, it was a collective up in Baltimore, Maryland. We had a studio called the Lab Studio up in Towson, Maryland, and before that, we had connected with it was a company called Architect Studios. They had the major studio that everybody came through from Miami, New York, Jersey, Philly. Everybody came through there to record their albums. So, of course, as a producer, I wanted to go to the hottest, studios that was in town at that time. So I hooked up with Mike McIntosh, if anybody heard of him before. He's from Jamaica, but he resides in Baltimore. He started Mike Architect Studios back in the day, back in the early 90s. And we connected with him, recorded a couple of albums through there. And one of his artists had came through, and I started working with that artist. And that artist actually knew Hassan Rahman. So I was making the beats for the artist, and he said, "Yo, we got an opportunity to do an intro song for him to work out to, and he's going to come out to it for his major fight." And that's how it all went down. We made the beat and got the artists on there. Shout out to my man Shaheed, man, from SCU, Self-Contained Unit. Him and Stutter Man. He's from Guyana, but up in New York now, and he moved to Atlanta. Both of them moved to Atlanta now. So shout out to ATL. But they were on the track, and I produced the track, and the track came out really nice. Shout out to McIntosh as well, Mike McIntosh.
Any questions for Kelly, Troy? You still there?
Yes, sir. I'm still here. Yes, sir. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not, because like I said, it sounds
We
real
hear you
bad on my
perfectly,
end.
man.
So
We hear you perfectly, man.
Okay.
Just keep it rolling. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, Kelly, you actually retired, and as I told you when you came on before you looking good, you shining like the sun. How did you go from being that boxer? Because you were in some tough fights. How did you go from being that tough boxer that was in some tough fights to actually being stable now and to doing what you're doing? And go ahead and tell that story for us, Kelly.
It was easy as hell, man. no more harsh shots and punishment, and going to being able to eat what I want and doing what I want. No, but it was a different transition. Like I said, I looked forward to retiring when I did, but when that's your life, when your life is boxing, fighting, and training all the time, after a year or two, I mean, you really kind of just start getting lost. Like you're just kind of like bored. You don't know what to do with yourself. I mean, you go from being an active fighter to doing absolutely nothing. And the first 2 years, I should say 3 years, I didn't do anything. I mean, I really didn't even watch boxing that much. And I would say right around 15, 16 was when I actually started a podcast. I forgot to mention that I still have the podcast, but we do that more touch and go. We have a loyal fan base. The podcast, we're not trying to get Joe Rogan numbers, but the punchline with Kelly Pavlik and James Dominguez is still out there. And I started that, and that was kind of like, I had to at that point. I had to get back into boxing one way or another, and but without fighting, and get myself busy again. Get back out there. We went and covered fights. We get credentialed to a lot of big fights, and it kind of started that way. Then it just fell into the gym opportunity was available. I bought the gym, and then I really reformed or transformed that gym into a beautiful workout center, and just kept the ball rolling from there. And again, bringing the right people in to make the right investments, and that's where it kind of got to. And then it's the competitive thing. So now I have these businesses, and not only am I involved with them, but I want to make them the best ones around. I want to make it the best things. The sports testing, you got a handful of companies out there right now, like Zybeck and these other companies that they work with athletes and even collegiate athletes, but we want to take it to another level that nobody else has done. So like every time I get involved in something, it's like full go, and that's the big thing. And that's, I kind of took the boxing part of it, when I fought and how I trained for fighting, and I kind of applied it to the business part of my life now, my business career.
I had a question from I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you were actually next. I just wanted to say that we're gonna have to work on some deal where you get a little discount if you came through Major Key. You know what I'm saying? And we said, you know, we'll talk about that. But go ahead. Go ahead. Where'd you go? Oh, there he goes. All right.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mark.
yeah. I'm all for that promo code work, man. Hey, look, that's a good way to market.
Exactly.
I got a question for Mr. Henry Jones. I changed his avatar and changed the name so it won't be confusion for you guys. Mr. Jones, my question for you is, how did you get into ring announcing? Like, why ring announcing, and how did you get into it? Tell us about that journey.
Okay, longer story shorter. In high school, I was always the understudy to the main character in those school plays through elementary, middle school, high school. I never got on stage, and I always had this great photographic memory. I could read a script and tell you exactly what page what word a page was on, page a word was on. Because I was always behind the curtains, reading or telling the actors their lines when they blew them. And so I guess I got traumatized. And when I got to DC in 1982, I just got my master's degree from University of Maryland over in Baltimore, shock trauma, across from the shock trauma unit, School of Social Work. So I got to DC, and I guess in my subconscious, I wanted to be this star because I never was fulfilled. So I went to the DC Boxing Commission, and at the time, may he rest in peace now, a gentleman named Mr. Gilbert Ware, Deputy Commissioner, he said, well, we don't have any TV contracts because I went to be a color commentator. And, of course, at that time, 82, all he wanted was George Foreman and Sugar Ray Leonard, guys like that. Right. And so he said, well, you're very articulate, you're knowledgeable about boxing. If you want to be on the microphone, why not be the ring announcer? I said, no, I wasn't thinking about that. And he said, why not? And I said, I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about it. He said, well, there have never been any major black ring announcers in the history of boxing. Somebody got to be the first one. And that epiphany moment hit me right then and there, Mark. And I took the challenge on the spot. And here we are 33 years later.
Did you experience any racism when you first started?
I'm still experiencing. What you talking about, man? I haven't been on TV 33 times in 33 years. And it's not because I don't have the talent. I'm not bragging or anything like that. At least it's not bragging when it's fact. Everybody knows I have the talent. And if you don't think that's the case, then ask yourself the question, have you ever seen another black ring announcer? Ever? And the answer is no.
Why is it, do you think? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So nobody can tell me it's not racism. That's exactly what it was. And I've been through so much, to document it, to prove the fact that it has been from coded words. Jones might not show up well on TV. The promoter said, well, the fighters look just like him. They're going to show up well, aren't they? Well, what, I turn invisible? I turn invisible when the TV come on? Fast forward a few years later, over in Baltimore, promoter wanted to use me. ESPN network exec told him, well, we don't want to use Jones. He's too loquacious. The promoter didn't even know what the word meant. He said, well, I hope he can get help with it because you're a damn good ring announcer. So I went over there that night. He said, come on over anyway, talk to the guy. I went over there, and it's Russell Peltz, and it's from Philadelphia, big wig guy, and make no bones about it. Truth is the truth. What they gonna do? Sue me for the truth? Please. So I asked him. I said, well, Russell, what's this word? Because the guy couldn't pronounce the word. He said lackadaisical or something. I don't know. I said, Russell, what's this word that you used with the promoter saying you didn't want to use me? Oh, yeah. I told him, you make every fight seem like it's a championship fight and everything, too loquacious. I said, Russell, all you had to do was say, don't be too loquacious. I said, sometimes Jimmy Lennon Jr. and Michael Buffer's introductions are longer than a fight. Do you tell them not to be too loquacious?
That's fact.
I set him up then. I said, no, I know what this is, man. This straight up discrimination. He said, oh, you don't have to go there playing the race card. I said, well, I think I do because you did. I said, let's see what your boss think about it. So at the time, the president of ESPN Friday Night Fights up in Bristol, Connecticut. I forgot the gentleman's name now, but I sent a certified letter up there with a return. You know, somebody had to sign for it to let me know they got it. And in the letter, I, inferred legal pursuit. That's not right, you know. So he called me personally because he knew I was right.
Right.
And he said, Mr. Jones, he said, I think you bring a lot of diversity. That's a word that he's used. Now, we talking 1994, 96. He said, I think you bring a lot of diversity to it. He said, you're very flavorful. He said, you make the fight seem exciting, even when they're not. That was my point, to do that, because a lot of times it's bum of the night fights. I hate to call them that, but less than stellar fighters. Okay. You know, and so I make every fight seem like it's important because it's important to them. And my mentor was Michael Buffer guy, said, let's get ready to rumble. And he taught me that back in 1988 when I first started. He said, Jones, he said, don't get caught up in a fighter's record. He said, whether the guy is winless or undefeated, he said, give due diligence to each one because they're putting their lives on the line. Absolutely. In the square ring. And I never forgot that. So over the years, I've been kind of responsible for some upsets because I motivate the fighters, man. And that's what it's all about.
You're like, man, I can win this shit tonight.
Yeah. Oh, man, he makes me feel like I'm King Kong up in here. Yeah. And he became King Kong for that night, you know, and that's what it's all about. And plus, you know, I give the crowd their money's worth, man. I keep them entertained all night, you know, when it's something goes wrong, because there's a lot of things that go wrong. People don't, you know, see it, you know, and I filibuster, I tell some jokes, you know, I recognize people in the crowd, you know, just keep it moving. You know, you never want dead time, you know. So I'm kind of skillful on that mic, man. I'm kind of skillful, and people appreciate it, especially promoters, because I also sell a lot of tickets and I get sponsorships. No other ring announcer is doing that. One year when we in DC, when we had Lamont Peterson against Amir Khan, you remember that fight?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we remember.
I personally sold $33,000 worth of tickets myself.
Wow.
Damn,
but
bro.
Golden Boy Promotions, thinking that was going to impress them so much that they're going to bring me on board. Never heard from them again. Why would you turn down my money? It's not good enough, huh? My blackness overweighs the green. That's crazy. If I was a promoter, I would hire Jones every day of the week. So in essence, I'm paying promoters to allow me to announce their fight because they're making a profit. What other ring announcer does that? Nobody. You know. So that's how I've been able to, market myself and reinvent myself to get gigs. So, you know, I'm kind of in demand with certain promoters around the country because they realize the commodity that they have. You know, if they can get past the color.
My last question for you, and I'll pass it back to the host. How did you get that name, Henry Discombobulating Jones? That's a lot to put in neon, man. That's a big name, and it's fancy though. How'd you get that name, Mr. Jones?
Very good question, Mark. So,
thank you.
Again, in high school, my senior year of high school, I'm watching a fight, and it was Ali against somebody. He was just pummeling the guy, and the most renowned color commentator said, "Never in my unprecedented ring experience have I ever seen a fighter so utterly discombobulated." Of course, the late, great Howard Cosell. I ran to the dictionary to look up that word. I said, man, that's a powerful word. I don't know what it means, but it means something. It wasn't in the dictionary. My sister had just bought me a thesaurus because I had read the entire dictionary. You know, because I was a lover of words. That was my strength, writing, reading. That's how I got scholarships to go to college on a full ride. So I ran to the dictionary, wasn't there, went to the thesaurus, and it means to knock out, completely, render senseless, upset the composure of. I was like, wow. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. So when I became ring announcer in 1988, I thought about that word. I said, well, Henry not gonna get it. I got to get a word that's gonna get the, get the sports writers and media attention. So at that point to 1988, I had been through a lot, man. Praise God, I'm still here now. The streets, cancer, bad relationships, substance abuse, all that could have taken me out. So I started calling myself discombobulating, ing, because I wanted to be the one doing the positive knocking out of adversaries in life.
Good answer.
And that's how,
like that.
and that's how the name came about, and it's stuck, and it's caught on. Matter of fact, this gonna get you. I'm trying to collaborate, not trying to. I am collaborating with certain people to do some major projects in life, and one of them is to erect a statue in honor of the first black boxing champion in history. Do you know who that is?
Jack Johnson?
No, I know who it is, but I'm not saying.
No. Most people think it's Jack Johnson. He's the first black heavyweight, but the first black boxing champion is from Baltimore by the name of Joe Gans, a lightweight.
Gans.
Yep, 1902, 4 years before Joe. So I'm spearheading the international project to get a statue erected. So I've contacted a lot of people, Mike Tyson included, who goes to his grave every year and puts flowers on it, right? So Saturday, I got a call from a gentleman by the name of Willie Lanier. You know that name?
Yes, sir. That sounds familiar.
NFL Hall of Fame linebacker, graduated from Morgan State, and played for the Kansas City Chiefs. Willie Lanier, back in the heyday, the late 60s, first Super Bowl, Green Bay and
Hall of Famer,
Kansas City.
1986.
Yes. He called me personally, man. I was so honored. I had sent him an email. He has what's called a Honey Bear Project. He's trying to empower HBCUs. So he's putting on, he's giving them AstroTurfs for their fields for the football teams around. Yeah. So he did Morgan, he did Central State, he did Virginia Union, and more to come. So I said, wow, he's putting his money where his mouth is. Let me see if he's interested in some of my projects. Because one of them is I wanted to put on fight cards on campuses of HBCUs, to give back to the school. So he likes all of that. So, yeah, so we're going forward. We're going to collaborate in those two aspects, putting on fight cards and getting that statue erected as well. So got some things going on, man. So I'm going to definitely keep y'all posted on it because I would certainly like y'all to be part of it.
Absolutely.
I would love to support that.
Yeah, man, definitely want to hear about that. Anytime we can hear about anything positive like that. So, Mark, I know we have H Money in the background. He's about to jump in, but did you have any questions for DJ Rebel or Kelly before we pass it to him? Or do you want to hold off? I know you were dealing with technical issues.
I'll rescind my time. Go ahead. I'm patient. Go ahead.
Okay, that's what's up, man. You the brother of the channel, man. So we have to make sure that that you were dealing with background technical issues, man. So we don't want to take away time, and salute to everybody that's watching from his simulcast. It's not just this channel that's live right now. It's his channel as well. So salute to everybody watching from over there. So that's what's up. But go ahead, H Money.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for having me, Majorkeyboxing.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna give a special shout out to the Ghost, Kelly Pavlik. What's good, man? I remember watching Kelly Pavlik, man, versus Edison Miranda. And now that was a firefight. At the time, Edison Miranda was a knockout artist. Kelly Pavlik stole the show. He knocked out Edison Miranda. And I believe Kelly Pavlik put the boxing world on notice that day. Kelly, could you tell us a little bit about that firefight with Miranda? It was a war, but you came out on top.
Yeah, that was a fight that was actually really good because I fought Zartucci to fight before that, and that was for the #1 mandatory. And then I fought, and I was supposed to fight Taylor, and then they come and hit me with the fact that I got to fight Edison Miranda. And at the time, Edison Miranda was probably the most feared fighter in boxing, and he could hit like a mule and was just strong. And nobody was giving me a chance in that fight, so. Especially when I told everybody my game plan that I was going to go in there and back Edison Miranda up. Now, like Lampley, the commentator for HBO at the time, said nobody's ever backed Edison Miranda up. So everybody thought I was full of shit and that I was, not going to win the fight and I was going to get knocked out. And I actually turned around and put a beating on Edison Miranda the way I did. Nobody expected that. And, Jermaine Taylor was obviously probably the biggest fight in my career because I won the world title, but Edison Miranda is close behind that, really close because, again, at that time, Miranda was just walking through people and big names. I mean, he came off beating Alan Green. He put an ass whooping on Arthur Abraham, who was the middleweight world champion, and they gave the fight to Abraham because it was over in Germany. But that was a huge fight. I think that after that fight, not too many could doubt me at that point.
Yeah, absolutely, Kelly. And your fight with Jermaine Taylor, man, you had 2 fights with him, but that first fight, it was such an exciting matchup because in the beginning he knocked you down, you got back up and whooped his ass, and that's what you call, fireworks. That's excitement, and I think those are the type of fights that boxing is missing right now. I remember that watching that fight, man, with one of my best friends, man, and it was excitement. It was exciting. Now, Jermaine Taylor was the undisputed.
Before you finish that, one of the reasons that I remember that, and I told Kelly the last time he was on, bro, Lennox Lewis, when he got up and he started like backing up Jermaine Taylor, right? I was like, holy shit in my head, but my hair stood up because Lennox Lewis was so hyped. He was like, Kelly Pavlik is one tough cookie from Youngstown. You know what I'm saying? That shit had me dying, bro. I was like, holy shit, I was hyped up, bro. And then he knocked him out. I was like, damn, there you go.
Yo, Kelly, that right hand you hit him with was incredible. I remember watching it in slow motion and it's watching you just knock the blood out of his mouth. I said, wow, Kelly Pavlik is the real deal. And after that fight, you pretty much was on top of the world. I believe you were the undisputed middleweight champion at that time. Is that correct? You were undisputed.
Well, going back on that, you could say undisputed because I always thought, how that works is the only way Jermaine Taylor was undisputed when he beat Hopkins. And they say the only way you can lose the undisputed title is by losing a fight. And Jermaine didn't lose a fight when I fought him. He lost the belts due to vacating or I don't know, I can't remember if he vacated him or if he got stripped. But either or, he didn't lose him by losing a fight. And so that's still up in the air. Nobody really knows. There's boxing people that all have different opinions on it and how the rules work. But I was the lineal champion, universally recognized.
Ring Magazine, lineal. You were the man that beat the man, definitely. There's no questions in that.
Yeah, definitely, Kelly. And that fight was very exciting. It was one of the best fights I ever watched. And one thing about your style, it was come forward. It was letting your hands go. It was power punches. And, I definitely appreciate you, Kelly, and you coming to this platform, man. There's a young fighter that kind of reminds me of yourself. Similar skill set, David Benavidez. What do you think about David Benavidez? I know you sparred him before. What do you think about David Benavidez? And some people say he reminds the people of yourself. Do you see any comparison between the two, between you and David Benavidez?
Yeah, I do. I do. The only thing is, I think the only thing that I can say with Benavidez is he's not as active as he could be. I threw a lot of punches and David don't. But other than that, I have to say this: like Canelo has come off and has been just on fire. Canelo's an amazing fighter. Everybody gives him hate. They come down on him, and the guys out there doing stuff that a lot of other fighters ain't doing. But I think David Benavidez right now is the best 168.
Mark, are you still there?
You said David Benavidez. You think is the best at 168 right now? You believe so?
I think Canelo takes up that. I think Canelo is the top of 168 as long as he don't fight David Benavidez. Benavidez.
Mark, are you still there?
6'3.5", and the guy could fight. And I think Canelo is a very small super middleweight, but Canelo has the skills and the power to be able to compete and be at top 168. But when you start getting that high and you start fighting 6'3.5", guys that are weighing 190, 195 tonight at a fight like David Benavidez and can fight like David Benavidez, it's just a little tougher, and it's hard for me to see Canelo beating Benavidez at 168. And I think that's the only person at 168 right now that can beat Canelo. But I think Benavidez is that good.
Yes, Benavidez, he's been calling out Canelo too. Now, Canelo, he said something like he will never fight another Mexican fighter. And I know that Canelo fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He fought plenty of Mexicans in Mexico. But when it came to this, this fighter, David Benavidez, seemed like he really didn't want that smoke. But, I'm not sure. But I think Benavidez is a problem, though. I think he's powerful. He has fast hands. He's very aggressive. I think he could give Canelo problems, like you say.
I agree. I mean, I just think, to bite off more than you could chew, I think it's a hell of an accomplishment for what Canelo was able to do. I think he started his career at 47. I may be mistaken, but a lot of his other big fights were 154. Then he went to 160. And controversial or not, he took care of business at 160. At the time, it was Triple G and Danny Jacobs were the two big, champions. He beat them, and then he went up. He even went as high as 175. People could talk all the shit they want, but a lot of people were saying Kovalev was going to beat Canelo, and that Canelo was too small. And Kovalev was still a dangerous opponent. And Canelo went up there and won a world title at 175. He jumped up 2 weight classes to win that. And then he came back down. He beat some good fighters at 168. I wouldn't say great fighters, but he beat them, and he beat them convincingly. You got to give him his respect. I just think that when you start talking about a guy who could actually be a big light heavyweight like Benavidez, now I just think Canelo at 5'7", if he's even 5'7", and coming up from that weight, I just think it's a little too much against a guy like Benavidez.
Man, great questions, H Money. Hey, do you have anybody any questions for the panel, because we got to keep it moving?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Majorkeyboxing, for having me. Shout outs to the Ghost, Kelly Pavlik, H Money right here. Appreciate that. Much love.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Peace. So we got Jed Cal came up in the building. I think he was here last time you were here, Kelly. My brother from over there in Australia. He's got a boxing gym in Australia. So Jed Cal, go ahead, man.
Yeah, how are you, Kelly? How are you, brother? Good to talk to you, bro. I was just one question I was actually really interested to ask. I remember you and Arthur Abraham were talked about fighting, because I remember did he have the other belt? Did he have the WBO title at the time when you were the middleweight champion?
Abraham?
Yeah. I think Abraham had one of the belts when you were the champ.
Yeah, he did. And I could answer that question real quick. That came down to, as I mentioned before, a lot of times the fighters get to blame for, ducking and everything else. But I wanted Abraham. I wanted the other belt. But they wanted to fight over in Germany overseas, and I was the middleweight champion. I was the lineal champion, and as my promoters did, I don't blame them. They don't want us going over to Germany. And the only way Abraham would take that fight with me was if the fight was overseas. So that's the reason why that fight never came to be, and I would have to get my head examined to go over to Germany and defend my titles against them. So,
yeah, of course, because I remember Germany was probably one of the most corrupt boxing countries at the time. There was a lot of bad decisions. Van Ocky and Felix Sturm. It was you had to almost kill the guy to get a decision there at the time. So yeah, I don't blame you. But it would have been a great fight. I think you would have beat Abraham, but I think it would have been definitely a very exciting fight, because he was a big puncher at the time, and and you were a very exciting fight. I think your styles would have clashed real well there if that fight had come off. Also, Kelly, you just mentioned Canelo, and I know that Canelo was at middleweight for the Golovkin fights. How would have you gone about fighting Canelo if he was at the middleweight division when you were champion? If you were to fight him in, say, like a fantasy fight, how would you have fought that fight?
I mean, I'm realistic. Listen, Canelo could fight. He's there. He likes to trade. He's very slick. He works the head and body head very well. But I'm not Triple G. I throw out, like I said, the one thing with me, I think that was a big factor was not only did I hit hard, but I averaged in the high 80s to low 90s punches per round. There wasn't that many middleweights active like that at the time. And So that's the thing with Canelo. You know, I wouldn't have faded. I had a really good chin, and I threw punches and bunches, but they were all heavy-handed too. So that's the question. You know, I think how would Canelo handle that after the 7th and 8th round? You know, where would Canelo be? How would his conditioning be, trying to keep up with the pace? And I'm not saying I beat Canelo. Canelo is a fantastic fighter, but I can tell you this would be a lot closer than some of these fights he's in right now.
Yeah, I agree 100%. One thing about Kelly, you always let your hands go, Kelly. That's something, like you said, you always let your hands go and had a very high output, and you were always competitive through the whole 12 rounds. You never took a backwards step, you know. You competed for the whole fight, so I agree. You would have given Canelo help.
Yeah, definitely.
One tough cookie from Youngstown.
There you go. There you go.
Listen, man. Hey, Jed, any questions for Discombobulated Jones or DJ Rebel?
Nah, I'm all good at the moment. Sorry, bro. I just got to do something for a minute or.
Okay, perfect. All right. So we had new media in the background, but I don't know what happened to him. My brother, Coach Malachi, he was in the background. I'm not sure if I don't know about you guys, but it's been raining all across the East Coast all day, and everybody's having like technical issues. Eldo, you could click the link, man. Just click the link. I don't have a problem with you clicking the link if you're being professional, brother.
Right. And I want to step in here, once you're done, Major Key.
No, go ahead, because right now I can hear a little crackling in the background, but I know everybody's like around rain. Like it's been raining over here in Florida all day long, so like thunderstorms. So I was even having some issues, with my work earlier. You know, I work from home, but if you don't have, if you have a question, go ahead, and then we're gonna introduce Rapstar, my brother from across the pond. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, cool. This one is not so much a question, but it's something I want to put into the universe with all three of you brothers, right? Kelly, I know you're retired, and if I'm correct, do you train fighters or do you put on shows, or what are you doing right now, Kelly?
Yeah,
do you train fighters right now, brother? Okay.
I was working with a young girl for the boxing, but as of right now, no, because my schedule's too busy. But once I have the boxing gym open up, and through the charitable organization and all that too, because it's going to be really good for the kids. And once that's going, I'll be in there, working with the fighters, but I'll also have people helping out and being able to do the same thing that I want them to, how I want them to train them. So
I tell you what, man, this is coming from my heart. There's actually a story to tell, right? Hey, here's my vision. Kelly Pavlik's story, and you have, DJ Rebel doing the music. And guess who's gonna narrate it? Guess who's gonna narrate the show? Henry, Henry Discombobulating Jones is gonna yeah. So why don't y'all all get together right here and right now, and go ahead and collaborate about that. A major key first, the Kelly Pavlik story, and we got the music by DJ Rebel, and we got the narrating by Henry Discombobulating Jones. Go ahead and piece that together for me real quick.
I'll do the editing for you, Kelly. I'm nice with them edits.
That'd be sweet.
Oh yeah. Mark is sharp. Mark is definitely sharp.
I had to slide right in on that, right?
A better group of people helping me with that.
Go ahead. I know you want to jump in on it. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rebel. You was gonna say something, Rebel?
You on mute, brother.
Yeah, I was gonna say, facts, and definitely, I told you, I'm with all the shits. No matter what's going on, I'm with it. So let's put it together, get it popping.
That's what's up.
All right. Okay, hey, Brother Jones, man, come on and say your piece, because I know you're not shy. So go ahead and give me your thoughts about that idea.
Mr. Jones, can you still there? Mr. Jones, you still there? I'm gonna try to get him back.
Yo, what up, Major Key?
What's going on, Rapstar? Go ahead, man. What's going on?
Yeah, man, I came on late over here. When you start cooking, bro, it's different hours in England, bro. I want to support you. But some of the times that you come on, bro, you know what I mean? I got to get back up and get my shit together.
That's why we do it. This is training camp for you, brother. You're gonna show up every single time I go live. That's what it does. You know what I'm saying?
Show you.
It's the East Coast. You UK, we brothers. You're gonna show up every time. This training camp,
bro,
man.
I come to show you some love. I come to show Kelly Pavlik some love and everybody else over here. But you know, let me get going, man. Let me ask Kelly, my fighter over there, man. I never got to speak to him last time. How you doing, Kelly? How's it going?
Going good. Going good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. Hey, I just want to ask you, yeah, in today's boxing, where we are today, if I asked you, Kelly, right, give me 3 of the young fighters that we should be looking out for, what 3 young fighters do you think are the ones of the next generation? And I'm talking about the young guys, not the Crawfords and the Errol, more like the Tanks, the Ryans, the Devin Haney's, the Teofimos, the Shakur Stevenson, you know, all these young guys. Which ones do you think are the boys?
Well, it's hard because, you know, I haven't paid attention, but I got to mention, you know, because Shakur Stevenson is still early, you know, he's still green, but the kid he's phenomenal. He took a lot of crap because he didn't knock the guy out his last fight, and that's horse shit. When you can box like that and you're that talented, you don't have to knock nobody out. Boxing is not called knockout. You know, it's called sweet science. It's called boxing. So, and the reason why it's sweet science is because whatever strategy and style that you have to win is what you use. I would have to say Shakur Stevenson right now. You got a young kid, Virgil Ortiz Jr., who's just a tremendous fighter at welterweight. And then I may have to say the name was mentioned before, and it's because I don't think he has a real title yet. And he's young. Is Boots Ennis? I mean, at 147, that guy right there is he could fight, and he's a big one. For as long as he can stay at 147, he's going to be an issue for all the 147 pounders.
Let me ask you a follow-up question, right? So you can continue. I will let you continue right now. But you said Boots Ennis, right? And you said Virgil Ortiz, which I agree with. What about right now, Conor Ben? Also,
you
I don't know if
question,
you've ever heard of Xander Zayas, who's coming up. He's only 18 years old. Have you heard of those names? Conor Ben and Xander Zayas? Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Nigel Ben's son.
Yeah, I heard. I've seen him fight. And my only take, I mean, as of right now, he looks unstoppable, but we got to see him, you know, just another notch or two in the level of competition. Right. And then when he goes into fights like Luke Campbell or somebody like that, and he takes him out, then I think at that point we could say, yeah, you know, and I think he is. I think he is going to be a world champion. Not saying that, but before I give that prediction, I'd like to see that one more level up. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
Can I go with the next one, Major Key?
Yeah, go ahead. Move on. Because we have
so, Kelly, I don't know when
you're done with your questions, right? Rapstar. Once you're done with yours, we'll move on to L Dog. But don't leave the
I ain't got long anyway, but I just wanted to make sure I asked Kelly this. So, Kelly, when you was in the game, we didn't have those extra titles. We didn't have the super titles, the franchise titles. What do you think about these extra belts, my brother? Do you think they help boxing to make bigger fights? Because like the WBC said, with the franchise, right, they're making big fights. They just made Estrada versus Chocolito. They made Teofimo versus Lomachenko. So they are making some big fights. What do you think about some of these belts?
I think it's I gotta watch. I'm kind of caught in the middle of it. I'm not a big fan, but I am. I don't know if that makes any sense, but because it does. Listen, everybody talks about getting rid of the belt system, and you see how hard it is now to get these fights to be made, right? You see that it's really hard, even with 4 world title belts out there. So when you only have one belt, now you're talking about people having to wait in line, and then by the time the one guy who we think is the best fights the number one, everybody goes, oh, well, he's washed up and he should have fought him 3 years ago. So the more belts out there, I think it does give the public more chances to see him, and it gives more availability to make these bigger fights. I truly do believe that when you have the 2 or 3 WBCs, you may get the number 4 contender fighting who everybody thinks is the biggest prospect, and he might get a title shot. It just opens up more bigger fights. I know a lot of people are going to say we're not seeing them right now, but you will. You'll start seeing the fights.
Hey, Kelly, thanks for your time for Rap Star Boxing. You are a warrior. We've been supporting you from England for years, brother. So just thanks for your time. Thanks for Majorkeyboxing. He's my brother from another mother on the other side. So thanks, gentlemen. I'll catch you guys
Thank
soon.
you. I appreciate
Thank you.
All right. So so L Dog is next, and hey, either Mark or Troy, hold it down for just a moment, and let L Dog jump on.
Yo, what's up,
Yeah,
Mr. Pavlik?
That's our
Great champion.
That's our friend from New Zealand. We got a New Zealander up in
Yeah,
the studio.
I'm from New Zealand, man. You know, shout out to you. I just want to ask you, there's not too many white guys in boxing in America. Did you ever experience discrimination in the gyms or anywhere on your rise? You know, did people look at you a different way? Did they underestimate you? Did they sometimes, just look at you a different way?
Yeah, it was a little bit through the boxing, through the boxing part of it, because you don't have many white guys from the United States. I mean, it is what it is. There's just not many really talented fighters coming up right now. Most of them, the white fighters are Eastern European if they're champions. So yeah, especially when I was coming up, there wasn't many. And I'll never forget. It was actually, I think it was Greenberg, or I forget whoever the head of HBO was in 2007, and it was right before the Zartucci, or a couple of fights before the Zartucci fight, because that was on HBO. And my agent Cameron Duncan was asked, or somebody in the audience asked, and Cameron goes, "Oh, you got to ask these big time networks why we can't get Kelly Pavlik on TV," because I was at one point 14-0 with 14 knockouts, and we could even fast forward, and I was like at one point 21, 22-0 with like 18 knockouts. And I was still fighting on some of the Spanish channels or the Versus Network, and once in a while on ESPN. And they were saying, how come he hasn't been on the big major premium networks yet? And Greenberg said that they don't invest in white fighters from the Midwest. So yeah, it really put a lot of pressure when I did get the opportunity to fight on HBO against Zartucci to really shine, because if I didn't, I don't know what the chances of getting back on would have been. But and I was fortunate to go out there and knock out Zartucci. So it was nothing crazy, nothing that I paid any mind to. I was really determined, and I had one thing to focus on, and that was just to keep winning every fight, because if you keep winning, eventually they can't keep denying you for too long.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, L Dog, you good, or you got another question?
Nah, that's it, man. God bless you, Kelly Pavlik, and thank you for having me on, Troy and Major Key. Peace.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah, you know what, Kelly and DJ Rebel, I want to ask you a similar question, because both of you come from other areas that are not known for what both of you do, right? Like you coming from the Midwest, right? And Rebel, we coming out of Maryland. How did you break through those barriers, man, to get where you are today? Did you hear me?
Go first. All right. You want me to
Yeah,
go
who
first?
first?
All right.
You go first, Kelly, and then after that, you go Rebel, okay?
All right. Yeah, actually, Youngstown, it really wasn't that big of a shock, because Youngstown, we had 5 world champions within a 20, 25-year period for such a small town. We only had, especially when I won, 80,000, 85,000. I think it's lower now. But in the 80s, we may have had 110,000 people, which is still considered kind of small. So we put off 5 world champions, but there was a big gap between me and the last time a world title was won, and that was 25 years. And so it was a little bit of pressure. I think the pressure was more to be up on stage with the mother guys from Youngstown, and but it came through, and I was able to do it, and it was a big part, though, and the city was a big part of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's actually a great answer, because as far as I know about your state, as far as I know about Ohio, I know about the Broners of the world, and I definitely know about Ezra Charles, right? I definitely know about Ezra Charles. You know, he's from Ohio as well, right?
I think so.
Yes,
But
sir.
Youngstown or Ohio had just had a shitload. You had Aaron Pryor, Mancini,
Yes, yes, the Hawk.
yeah,
The Hawk.
even Buster Douglas.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I'm gonna call you after the show and talk to you about that. But yeah, see, hey, man, you know, I still hear that story coming out. But go ahead, Rebel, and tell your side of it now.
As far as being out of Maryland, I grew up in a lot of different places. So Maryland is my hometown, and you know that's my birth certificate. But I was everywhere. Music took me to Brooklyn, New York. It took me to Jersey. It took me to Cali. It took me to Las Vegas. I've been a lot of places, and you know, taking on all the culture of hip hop itself and being a producer. They call me the OG for my age, but I still can hang with all the youngsters out there as far as making beats and stuff. It was hard trying to come out of MD because it's like MD is like the birthplace of a lot of things, man. Biggie was out here in Maryland. Tupac was out here in Maryland. Wu-Tang Clan, believe it or not, they love coming to Maryland. Foxy Brown was out here. There's a lot of people that, you know,
DMX.
migrated from, yeah, DMX definitely was in Baltimore. Oh, my dog barking. But yeah, everybody that you know was from somewhere else that came out here to Maryland, it's like the birth grounds of trying to make it. You know, out here. Let me get this dog straight. But out here, you could definitely make things happen. But the main thing is once you leave here and go other places, like that's when you get the star status. It's crazy, because you know Tupac moved to Cali. Um, and DMX, you know, he's from the Bronx, but he came out to Baltimore and got a lot of things popping. But it wasn't until he got with Philly with the Rough Riders that he blew up his, you know, his whole talent was just gone. You know what I mean? So it's dope. But Maryland is a hard place to come out of when it comes down to talent and entertainment. But once you here, it's like the birthplace of getting your skills together. Once you get your skills together, go other places, you can tear it up. That's my take on it, as far as you know, being from here and trying to do things.
All right. Thank you both. And Sheldon Moore, I see you. You got a question for Kenny.
Yes, I do, brothers. How y'all doing tonight? How's everybody on the panel?
Good, good. Yo, hold on one second, because in the private chat, Mark wanted to ask a quick question, and I believe that was for Rebel. So just let him get that off real quick, and then you could jump right in after him, Shelton. All right? And welcome to the channel, by the way.
Hey, I got a question for both Mr. Pavlik and Mr. DJ Rebel. Hey, both of you guys are involved in an industry where often the guy who's doing the work and doing the carrying the load often gets paid the less. He ends up with less money. He ends up broke, for lack of better words. The fighter often ends up with less money. The artist also gets robbed. The producer gets robbed. You know what I'm saying? The fighter gets robbed. Is it something that we can do as fans? Is it something that needs to be done to fix that industry as a whole, or is it a case by case, and these are things that the individual needs to do, and the system is, you know, inherently broken? There's nothing we can do. I know it's a loaded question. I can clarify if need be.
I guess I'll go first. All right, Kelly. So, my man Mark Nash, shout out to you, man. Salute. It's a case by case, bro, because in the industry, everybody has to sign a contract. What you hear as far as these horror stories out here in the world is going to be case by case. You're not going to hear the same horror story over and over unless it's about a contract. So the first thing you got to do is do your knowledge on the label that you're going to be part of, the industry that you're going to be in, as far as the record label itself. Also, what kind of genre you're in, and if you're going to have a publicist or you're going to do all your own stuff. So it's better for you to have more creative control of all of your work, your body of work, and what you're doing, Mark. And if you're producing a song, make sure you get enough points on that song so when that starts to sell and they start to make the money off the song, it's not just the label getting rich off the song. You getting rich off the song too, because this is your lineage. You're gonna pass that down. That's royalty checks for the rest of your life, like a social security card. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to the industry and the entertainment, the best thing for you to do is have the knowledge of the lawyer, the contract, and what exactly do you want out of it? Because, you know, just like when you get with a girl or, you know, your significant other, there's some things you want to come into the relationship. You like, I want the relationship to be like this. That's how you got to have your contract. If you don't do it like that, you're just going to take it. Yeah, I'm just going to sign this because you heard millions of dollars being put in place. They're going to use you. They're going to use you up until you gone like Michael Jackson. Salute, man.
Same question, Kelly. Is it something that needs to be done to fix the system as a whole, far as boxing, or is it a case by case, and these individuals are just signing bad contracts? But this is a story that we've been hearing since before I was born. Boxers, they end up broke. The musicians, the artists, the producers, they end up broke. The promoters and managers stay rich. People sign away their TV rights. With music, same thing in boxing. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, DJ Rebel, where you say, hey, know the contract, but we're not lawyers. That's why you hire a lawyer. But sometimes these lawyers are working with these lawyers. This promoter has a relationship with this guy. And Biggie said it best, lawyers watching lawyers so I don't go broke. But this system seems like it's a broken system.
It is. But you got to look at it like this. It's a dog-eat-dog world, man. Promoters, they're putting up, they're the boss, right? You know, the promoter comes in as the boss. I mean, it's their money. They're paying the millions of dollars to put these fights on. They got to pay for all the training expense, this, that, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, going in, when you sign a contract with them, you know that they're going to be what you're signing a contract into, right? You have that idea. You know that you're getting into it, and they're going to be your boss. They tell you who you're going to fight. They're going to move you and get you in position for a world title, and they're possibly one day going to make you millions of dollars too. So you got to kind of look at it that way. On the flip side of it, you do have managers that come in, and it's pretty brutal. I mean, some of these journeymen, they'll tell these the managers will come in and say, "Yeah, you're going to fight for $55,000," because they'll negotiate with the other promoter, and then they'll tell their guy that they're only making $30,000. So right there is what, $25,000 profit off the top, and then they'll take a 30% cut of that. So I think the way to get around that is to make sure that you have a trustworthy team behind you. When you're just coming up, it's hard. You're not making the money to even hire a team behind you. But when you start getting to the championship level and contender level, I think it's very important to have the right people behind you to go over the contracts. If you're a fighter and you get a contract, you know, take it to an attorney, let them look it over. If you got to come out of pocket for it, make sure you know what you're signing into before you sign the contract. But you know, it's just a double-edged sword. I mean, it's crazy. But if you go in there and you fight with a promoter and argue with them and you piss them off, now you're looking at maybe $100,000 to $200,000 fight reduction or a fight purse. It's just crazy. So I mean, it is what it is. You know, I guess when you enter boxing, you kind of know what to expect. But I don't know if you can really change it, because eventually promoters will start cutting back too. Then.
Okay, perfect. So, Shelton's been in the background. Shelton, Mr. Moore, I apologize for the delay. And shout out to New Media Boxing, by the way. You know, I just texted him and I see why he went off. There was a personal issue that went on. But shout out everybody, subscribe to New Media Boxing USA. That's my brother right there. And he was about to come on and obviously share the platform on his channel as well. Growing channel, great content all the time. So shout out to Mr. Coach Malachi, you know. But go ahead, Shelton. Go ahead and speak your piece, man.
Yeah, I have one question for Mr. Pavlik. How you doing today, sir? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Oh, you're on mute, Kelly. You're on mute. Yo, Kelly, you're on mute. There you go.
Yeah, how you doing today, sir? My question was, what's your relationship with Boom Boom Mancini? Are you guys close? Do you speak, or what's going on there?
We weren't there for a little while. You know, some things that had taken place. But you know, we're definitely cool now. I've seen him actually. I think I was covering a fight for my podcast, and I think it was either Mikey Garcia, Jesse Vargas fight, or Mikey Garcia versus Spence. And I chatted with him, and I just seen him actually in town, and we talked. So no, we're on good talking terms. I don't keep beefs going. Life's too short. So and Ray's a great guy, and that was a great fighter. So there's
Good shit.
respect.
Good shit. And the second question and final question was, your businesses, are they all in Youngstown, or do you have businesses spread out all over?
Well, two of them are, should say international, nationally, and then the rest are right in Youngstown and right on the outside of Youngstown.
Cool. Giving back. I like that, man. Thank you for your time, brother. Appreciate your answers.
And the sports testing will be global eventually, and but it's definitely nationwide right now. And the app that we have, we market at overseas, UK, Australia, just all over the United States. So
that's what's up, man. Well, usually we wrap it up around 11, but we did show up a couple minutes late, so I'll let it rock on a little bit before the final word. So let's go around the panel. Any final words from anybody? Any final questions? You know what I mean? Yo, Shelton, you just got in, so go ahead and you go first, man.
And I want y'all to know we got Mr. Henry Jones back.
Oh, you got him back? Okay. All right. Well, let's jump to him because he's been quiet for a minute, man, like 30 minutes. We haven't been able to hear him.
Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Hey, fellas. Yeah, just want to say that this is certainly an invaluable forum to get the information out, to allow people to speak their piece on this platform, and I appreciate you having me on. Boxing is alive and well, despite what some say that the mic is here. No, it's not. And I don't really like how it's turned into exhibition boxing with celebrities and the YouTubers and all that. But business is business. If there's a market for it, they're going to keep doing it. But what we need to do is demand the fight that the public really wants to see, i.e., Crawford, Spence, Fury, Wilder, Fury, Joshua, Tank, Gary Russell, Tank, Teofimo Lopez, and on and on, and so that's what we need to do as a collective body, is demand of these promoters to put those fights on and not look at and subscribe to the YouTube. That's the only way that we're going to get what we want, so I really appreciate being on the scene for these 33 years. A new generation of fighters coming up in the DMV area. Got Jalil Hackett that was signed by Mayweather Promotions. We have a showbox card coming to DC real soon. Young man by the name of Jordan Short Dog White. Keep an eye out on him. He's definitely going to become champion.
I want to give. I'm sorry, Mr. Jones. I want to give you a little pushback on what you said. You said you don't like the celebrity boxing and novice fighters getting in there. You said, did I hear you correctly?
He did, because it's really not fair to the fighters who have put the work in for years, and they can't get anywhere near the amount of money that Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and these guys get. It's just not fair, And they're calling out Canelo, the cash cow, things of this nature. No, I don't appreciate that. I really don't.
Mr. Jones, well, somebody told me one time the fair is for cotton candies and stuffed animals and Ferris wheels. Life isn't fair. Now, these guys went out there and garnered enough attention and built their profile where they're able to command those eyeballs. Like, this guy's out there like Broner. He goes out there. He's a polarizing individual, but he's able to sell even if he loses the fight or gets a draw. He's able to sell. He's doing the same thing as the Paul brothers. He's putting asses in seats. That's the name of the game, correct?
Okay, touche, and point well taken. Point well taken. So our fighters need to actually elevate themselves, call out people, forget the records, and that's why UFC does so well. They don't really care about the losses. They'll come back. If it's a good fight, they'll bring them right back against somebody else. A lot of our fighters, don't want that to go. so to speak. So they're going to have to market themselves a little bit better to command that dollar that the YouTubers get. So I appreciate your point, and it's well taken.
Okay. Wasn't trying to be argumentative. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate a little bit.
Good point.
Go ahead, Major Key. I'm sorry.
Are you good? I was just answering Urban Flavors. You wouldn't call in; you would just click the link that I dropped. But right now we're wrapping it up, so we're not taking any more anybody else in the background. But you're more than welcome every Monday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're more than welcome. But at this point, so we got that off of Martin Nash. Those final questions. Shelton, do you have any? And I would love actually to since y'all got into that little debate as far as that one's concerned. You missed a lot because of the technical issues, and I would love to have you back. To be honest with you, Mr. Jones, because we wanted to ask you more boxing questions. Like Kelly got a lot of questions, Rebel got a couple of business questions, things like that. You know what I mean? And we wanted to ask you questions, but we know that with technical difficulties, it's all good. We good. We just appreciate the time anyway, and still hanging out for this time. So that means that you were trying to get your point across. So we appreciate that. And we definitely want to give you a platform to speak a little further on that in the future. But, apologies for that, any technical difficulties. But Shelton, any final thoughts or questions?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to DJ Rebel, thanks to Kelly Pavlik for your time and your honesty answering the questions, and much success to both of you guys, and hope to see you back here real soon.
Salute, man. Definitely, we'll be here, and hope to see you soon as well. Definitely like talking to you.
That's what's up. Okay, so any final thoughts from any of our guests here? So that goes up to anyone because obviously we're going to move this to Mark's show afterwards for anybody that's trying to drive into overtime after this. Mr. Rebel, Mr. Pavlik, Mr. Jones, anybody has any final words? Tell people, of course, where to find you, and make sure that everybody knows how to support.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's been my honor. I can be reached at on IG, Jones, Facebook, Discombobulating Jones. Even email the real KO Kid at gmail.com.
I think you guys were talking at the same time.
Yeah. So,
Mr. Jones, can you say that one more time for me? I'm sorry.
Mr. Jones. Yeah, Mr. Jones was actually the louder one. I could barely hear Kelly, but go ahead and say that one more time, and then Kelly, my bad, you go right after. Yeah, we're both talking at the same time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, I was saying my IG is Ring Announcer Jones. Okay. Facebook, Discombobulating Jones. Email the real KO Kid at gmail.com. Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. And I know a couple of promoters, so I'll definitely swing your name their way.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No doubt. And Mr. Pavlik, I apologize. Go ahead, brother.
The problem, I just had a hard time hearing. I just want to thank everyone, who was on here today, and it was a blast. It's an honor to be a part of it with all the talent on here. So, thanks again, and I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, man, definitely, man. You're welcome on anytime, man. Listen, I'm a hop, skip, and a jump away, man. You let me know, and the link is automatically there. But definitely, we definitely want to have you on more often. A lot of folks are interested in your career, as you can see, every time you pop up. So yeah, man. Thank you for sharing your time again.
Definitely, thank you guys.
All right, man. Thank you. And Mr. Rebel, any final words? Tell people where to find you and all that.
Stick and stay after
on IG. You can catch me on IG at DJ Sean Rebel. I got it on there for my name plaque. On Facebook, I'm Rebel Benzino Faulkner, Faulkner, like the famous writer. You can hashtag me at Organic Radio Show, and that'll bring up all the podcasts. And if you want to go to the .com, it's MIXXstation.com, mixstation.com. Salute everybody. Major Key, man. You're a blessing, man.
Thank
Troy,
you, sir. Thank you, bro.
Troy, you owe me money.
Rebel, stick and stay real quick. You too, brother Jones.
Okay.
I was trying to get, I was trying to get, a brother Kelly to stick and stay as well, man. He liked the hat. He liked that. But yeah.
No more. This don't fit no more, Troy.
Man, it's for my son. It's for my son, brother. I actually got it for my son. But look, man, I just want to thank all of y'all, man, for coming through, and thank you for your time. I know we had some issues. We had some issues, you know, and all that with the rain and everything. But definitely thank you. And I was serious about the three y'all getting together and doing something, man, because that's what we are here for. The platform is here for, about building. And you said something, Rebel, about the future, man, and you know, and getting them checks for your family to come, you know, way after you going away, right? You said something similar to that, and that's actually something you've always said. And I know Brother Jones has the same mindset as well, right? So we all just need, we all need to get together and just build, man, and build, you know, and you know, and one day you could tell that story how you told the younger me to stick and stay, but I bounced, and you ended up working with Rough Ends and everybody else, and I was not around. Much respect and love to both of y'all, man.
Yo, love, man. Mark, final words, brother. Did he already start his channel? He probably already started. So yo, from me, listen, man, we on the road to 3,000 by the end of this year. So please, everybody, share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Again, we trying to get equipment. So if you can, always support through the Cash App. It's on the bottom right now. It's also in the description. Besides that, we appreciate just the support with the views and the likes. You know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily need to jump on. And you know, just to support, just being in the chat and chopping it up and giving your perspectives. We always love it. And all we're trying to do is bring content to you guys from the generals, you know, the OGs in the game. You know what I mean? Like Rebel said, everybody calls them OG. Yeah. Sometimes we don't even know we OGs and we're already OGs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, damn, I'm over here kicking knowledge to people. And it's like, damn, I feel like it's my responsibility to. And, you know, and we don't even know it sometimes. We just in the position before we even realize it. But yo, shout out to you guys for spending the time with us. We always love it. You guys are always welcome. Any Major Key Monday, trust me, we have people popping up out of nowhere sometimes. We didn't even invite them, and they were here before, so they just pop up again. You know, so it's always a blessing to have you guys on. So peace to you guys. You know what I mean? Another great Major Key Monday episode. And I hope to speak to you guys soon. Any last words, Troy? Any other words?
Yeah. I was gonna say, just give me a few minutes, and I want to close it out by saying, look, I want to thank everybody in the chat that showed up too, right? I want to thank you all, and I just want to say, you know, look, we building a legacy over here, so please share, you know, like and subscribe, man. Because when he said we're trying to get to 3,000 by the end of the year, by the end of the year, ain't no trying, man. It's a done deal. Once you speak it into the universe, you know, the power of your own faith will push that, and you all are a part of something great. So go ahead and push it, and
no doubt,
like and subscribe, man. And we thank you for coming through always, and we're striving to get better each and every time.
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming in.
I'll bring everybody to the background, Troy, right now, and everybody else that's not in the background. Go ahead and support Mark Nash, MARQ Nash, and he's live right now. Go check him out. Peace.
Will do. Thank you.